Howdy everyone. I am Professor Cool Dude and today we'll be talking about Ovid. You'll be happy to know that this is what I've long waited for. And I know you all want me to tell you about Ovid, right? Are you off your cell phones? You. In the corner. I see you. Put your phone away. This is class time. Okay. So, seeing as how I know everything about everything, I'm ready to get started. Ovid was born on March 20th, 43 BC. His full name was Publius Ovidius Naso, and he lived in the Roman Empire. He wrote erotic poems. Today we wouldn't find them too erotic, but 2,000 years ago, wow, they were pretty steamy things. His most famous work was Metamorphoses. This pretty much told the story of creation, from the point of view of the Roman Empire. There were 15 books within the Epic of Metamorphoses. It had 12,000 lines, written in dactylic hexameter. It composed of mythological and legendary stories, chronicling time from the start of the universe to the death of Julius Caesar. Hey! I told you to get off your cell phones. How many of you know what Metamorphoses even means? Without looking at your cell phones. It means transformations, and that's what the work in Metamorphoses was about. Are we ready to start rockin' and rollin' here? Okay, class. What we'll do is look at some artwork based on Ovid's 15 books in the Metamorphoses. Here we have Apollo pursuing Daphne from the first book of Metamorphoses. It was painted by Giovanni Battista Tiepolo. Don't you all think this is a beautiful painting, class? Look at the marvelous detail. It was from Book 1 of Metamorphoses and from Book 2. Here is a painting of Juno discovering Jupiter with Io. Wow! Look at what painter Peter Lastman managed to accomplish. This is the book where Minerva transformed a girl into a cow for being so rude and disrespectful. Kind of like you. Get off your dang cell phones. How many times must I tell you? Oh look! It's from Book 3. This is a painting of Narcissus staring at his reflection. It was painted by Michelangelo Caravaggio. Yes, y'all. That. Michelangelo. Can you dig it? I sure can. This is from the story where the nymph Echo also loved him, but he could not return her affection. And poor Echo. She could only repeat the last few words of what others said. What a life. What a heartbreak. And what happened to Narcissus? The goddess Nemesis turned him into a flower. Look. It's something else from Book 3. It's a picture of Cadmus slaying the dragon. This was painted by Hendrik Goltzius. Do you all get a pretty good view of the mythology rockin' and rollin' here, class? Oh boy. It's Thisbe from Book 4. I think that John William Waterhouse did a fine job here. Her story is one of a secret love affair, and it was through the wall she had to speak with her forbidden lover. Her lover eventually became a tree. Here and now we have Proserpina from Book 5. Her story corresponds to the Greek myth of Demeter and Persephone. She had to live for half the year in Hades with the god of the underworld. They all call the apple forbidden fruit, but, in Proserpina's world, the real forbidden fruit was the pomegranate. This was painted by Dante Gabriel Rossetti. What? What did you say? No. That Dante was a different Dante. The Dante you're thinking of wrote the Divine Comedy. Hey! Check it out. It's a painting by Velázquez Diego. This is from Book 6, and it shows arachne weaving. Did you know that this story tells the reader of why a spider spins webs? And did you know that spiders are arachnids? Of course you know. You're a 200 level course. But that's where the word arachnid comes from. Ah look. It's Jason and Medea from Book 7. I know that you already read about Jason and Medea from Euripides' The Medea, so I won't go into much detail here. But look at this work by Moreau. Doesn't it also remind you of the biblical Adam and Eve? Well, maybe not exactly, right? But, anyhow, moving on, here's a painting depicting the flight of Icarus from Book 8. Jacob Peter Gouy did an awesome job painting this treasure. In attempt to escape Crete, Icarus and his father designed wax wings to fly away. But Icarus flies too close to the sun and his wings melt. He falls. He perishes. People lament him. They name a sea after him, The Icarian Sea southwest of the island of Samos. Ooh, look! It's a sculpture this time. It's Theseus slaying that pesky Minotaur. You can find this tale also in Book 8, seeing as how Book 8 has a lot to do with the island of Crete and the labyrinth. And I almost forgot to mention that Icarus's daddy built the labyrinth to contain the Minotaur. Hey! It's a picture of Achelous and Hercules from Book 9. This was painted by Thomas Hart Benton. Yay! Let me move over here so your eyes can feast upon this marvelous gem. Hercules and Achelous fought for a maiden's hand. Achelous is the bull in this picture. And Hercules is wearing a pair of blue jeans. Ha! Can you believe this painting is in the Smithsonian? And Hercules gets the girl. It's a win-win, right? Hey! What is this? I'm supposed to have a representation from Book 10. I don't want freaking bubbles. Where's my picture from Book 10 of Ovid's Metamorphoses? Oh my god. Somebody better find me a picture from Book 10 right now. Get your head out of here. Oh. Good. It's Orpheus and Eurydice. I was getting worried that no one would have something from Book 10, but, well. Here it is. Do you know this story? Orpheus loses his love Eurydice and travels to the underworld to beg Pluto and Proserpina for her back. They tell Orpheus that she can return from the dead by following him through the underworld until they reach Earth. But if he looks back at her, at any point before returning to the world of the living, Pluto and Proserpina would whisk her back to the dead, and she'd never be able to return to him. But he looks back, and she is lost to him. Forever. What a sad tragic story. Oh, here we have the burning of Troy and, what are you all saying back there? Are you on your cell phones again? Really? What are you looking for on your cell phones? I know that Troy is mentioned and covered in, like, 3 different books of Metamorphoses. People, why don't you just follow along and pay attention? So, as I was saying, even though the fall of Troy actually happens in Book 13, I wanted this picture for Book 11, because Troy is destroyed in Book 11, okay? And besides, it's my presentation and I can show you all what I want to. And I want to show you Troy set on fire. Now get off your dang cell phones. Let us now continue with the death of Achilles from Book 12. Even though Achilles killed Hector outside of Troy, Achilles was not immortal during the Trojan War. Paris shot him in the heel with an arrow, and that caused his death by the end of that war. Notice that's where we get the Achilles heel from, and here we have from Book 13, Ulysses receiving the arms of Achilles. Ulysses and Ajax fight over who should gain the armor of the fallen Achilles. And when the fight is over, it is Ulysses who is chosen because he threatens to sacrifice Achilles' armor to Minerva. Ajax kills himself with his own sword. Here's the destruction of Troy again. Are you all happy now? What the heck are you doing? I need something from Book 14. Not freaking bubbles on the screen again. What do you mean we lost the picture for Book 14? Are you a moron? Oh, okay, here we are with the apotheosis of Romulus from Book 14. I guess I can deal with that. This is really quite unlike Ovid, who didn't have much interest in the political accounts of Romulus. But it's interesting to note that Ovid definitely wanted to exemplify the militarism of Romulus and then combine it with a sense of peace and joy. I'm sure it had something to do with Ovid wanting to compare and contrast Romulus with the ideology of Augustus. And from Book 15, Ovid also presented us with the apotheosis of Julius Caesar, perhaps the most famous Roman to ever live. I won't say much on this, but I will tell you that Ovid had great adversity with his writings and the Roman rulers of the time. Again with this screen? Well, that's a little bit better, but not much. So anyway, I wanted to tell you that Ovid had to live in exile, and no one is quite sure why. I reckon politics had something to do with it, but when Ovid was exiled, he had to live among barbarians on the shores of the Black Sea. Not fun. But people claimed that Ovid was an immoral man. Erotic literature had something to do with that thought, and perhaps the apotheosis of Julius Caesar under the rather peaceful times of Augustus didn't sit well with folks. I'm not sure, even though I told you at the start of this presentation that I know everything. I'm just speculating here, class, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I am done. And now I'll turn it over to someone else. And if you want to keep showing the bubbles screen and play on your cell phones, well, it doesn't matter to Professor Cool Dude now. Ciao.